Welcome to In Cosmetic Asia Meet the Speaker series, where we get to meet the experts speaking in the marketing trends bit. I'm really pleased to welcome today's guest, Hedy He, Cosmetic Regulatory Analyst at ChemLinked. Thanks for joining us, Hedy.
Hi, I'm Hedy. I'm from ChemLinked.
Great. So could you maybe give us a bit of background to ChemLinked?
No problem. Founded in 2012, the ChemLinked is a comprehensive regulatory platform that integrates hot information, the professional consulting, research reports, customized training, and other services under Reach 24H Consulting Group in Hangzhou. With the support of the internal editorial team and external expert team, ChemLinked can timely track and report the regulatory updates of the Asia-Pacific countries and provide in-depth regulatory interpretation, the one-stop regulation and market access information services for Chinese and foreign manufacturers, trade logistics and ingredient enterprises, government departments, industry associations, and research institutions related to cosmetics and chemicals.
Fantastic. And what exactly is your role? What does that entail at the company?
Actually, I'm the Cosmetic Regulatory Analyst as well as the editor in the ChemLinked team. I focus on tracking, analyzing, and interpreting the latest cosmetic regulatory and market trends in China, Indonesia, and Vietnam, and the rest of the Asia-Pacific area. Every day I browse the official websites of the cosmetic competent authorities of Asia-Pacific countries to see if there are some news updates. If so, I will write and publish it as an article on the same day. So with the understanding of cosmetic regulations in Asia-Pacific, I've attended various industry conferences and presented several speeches and often been interviewed by cosmetic industry mediums.
What was it that made you want to work in the beauty and personal care industry in the first place?
I think beauty is the external pursuit of human beings, right? It always makes us happy. Personally speaking, I want to see what is new and what is happening in the beauty industry in China and in Asia-Pacific every day, like new ingredient, new technology, because I know that with these new ingredients and new technologies, people would be more beautiful or can keep their beauty for a longer time. It's very interesting and promising to see this. And what's more, you know that I'm from China. Now China is the world's second largest beauty market. So what ChemLinked do, what I do, is to deliver and interpret Asia-Pacific, including China's cosmetic regulations to foreign enterprises, and to break their barriers to entering the Chinese market. So seeing more and more companies entering China and seeing our clients feedback that the cosmetic regulatory information we provided is very accurate, I feel accomplished and very motivated.
That's great. So what impact do you think the coronavirus has had on the industry and also your area of specialism?
I think the pandemic's short impact on cosmetics consumption is unavoidable. For example, in January and February this year, because consumers stayed at home, social demand has shrunk and the makeup sales have declined. The closure of offline stores, department stores, health loans, and strict restrictions on global travel have affected the travel retail sales and led to a decline in sales of high-end cosmetics and hair dressing products. But for skincare products, especially basic skincare, its consumption nature is biased towards daily maintenance. The demand is relatively rigid, so the degree of impact is relatively small. And because consumers wear masks and frequently use hand sanitizers, which has led to an increase in demand for products cleaning, repairing, the anti-allergen, as well as hand creams. And in terms of channels, because consumers they cannot go out, so e-commerce platforms and live streaming marketing methods are growing very fast. And the medium and long-term development of the cosmetic industry is still improving. So the pandemic has not affected the strong demand of Chinese consumers for beauty products. And as for the regulations, we can see that the release of the final China cosmetic overarching regulation, the Cosmetic Supervision and Administration Regulation, the CSDR, is delayed. It should have been released at the beginning of 2020. Now that the government considers the negative impact of the pandemic on enterprises, the release was delayed until the end of June.
And if you had one prediction for the beauty and personal care industry next year in 2021, what would that be?
I think the product that claiming the repairing the anti-allergen would gain a very good growing trend because of the pandemic.
Fantastic. So could you give us an overview of the topic that you'll be speaking about in cosmetics?
My speech topic is the latest RC regulations. So I divided the content into 3 parts. At first, there will be an overview of RC cosmetic directive about the notification, the good manufacturing practices, the product information file, labeling, claims, and etc. And then I will specify the cosmetic regulation in RC member countries, such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, and their regulation differences with ACD. For example, on the differences on the notification, the labeling, and ingredients. In the last part, I will clarify the reason the cosmetic regulatory updates in RC. For example, Indonesia implemented the amended criteria and procedure for submission of cosmetic notification. The new regulation adds some terms, clarifies the dossiers necessary for notification as well as the notification procedures. And I will specify these strengths in the last part of my speech.
Sounds incredibly insightful. In regards to your session, do you have any interesting stats or maybe just some tips for our listeners?
So personally speaking, I think the second part, the regulation differences among the RC member countries would be very interesting. Although this is 10 countries, they all recognize the RC cosmetic directive, but there are also some differences because, for example, when we talk about the term notification, we always think that we just notify the government that I'm bringing this into the market, and in principle, there would not be any government review or approval required. But in Indonesia, the product notification still need the government pre-approval. Also, in terms of the cosmetic classification, Indonesia has made very detailed classification based on the RC regulations. For example, in the category of the skincare creams, the emulsions, lotions, Indonesia subdivided the neck cream, the skin refresher, the air moisturizer, baby product, and food care product. And what's more, regarding the dossiers necessary for notification, Indonesia requires product 4 ingredient list as well as the percentage of each ingredient, while Singapore, they does not require to submit the product formula information.
And one final question, what's the highlight of in Cosmetics Asia for you, and what are you most looking forward to?
I'm still looking forward to hearing the speeches related to regulations such as South Korea or Japanese cosmetic regulations or the market. And I also want to see some internationally innovative raw materials, ingredients, and products, which I think would be very interesting.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lottie. Thank you for your time.